Welcome back to the Loco Fit Show, where we redefine what healthy means for you. I'm your host, Laurin, and today is a mini-sode where I'll be talking about float tanks. So if you have met me recently in the past several months, you've heard me talk about float tanks. This is seriously something that I have wanted to do for so long, and I finally took the plunge, quite literally, in January. I was discussing it with somebody and I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to buy an intro package to this. I had been thinking about it for a while. I had heard other people talk about it. And I was like, you know what? I'm buying this intro package, which was 3 sessions, and I'm going to give it 3 sessions. If I absolutely hate it, oh well. If I enjoy it, then I can continue to do this moving forward. And it was just one of those things that had just come up again, kind of recurrently over the span of a few years with different people. And I'll be honest, I was very, very scared. I am somebody who is very scared of the dark. We don't need to get into all that, but it's just something that has always bothered me. And the idea of going into this pod where it's complete sensory deprivation, so it's no sound, no light, pitch black, really, really scared me. I wouldn't say that I'm somebody who's claustrophobic. Again, I feel like when people, it's like one of those questions like, are you claustrophobic? It's like, yeah, to a normal amount. Are you scared of heights? Yeah, I feel like if I'm on something that's tall and a height, I would be scared in a normal capacity, right? Like I'm going to walk on a bridge, but I'm also like not going to like dangle off of it and be like, oh, this isn't scary. Like, so anyways, I feel like when people say like, are you claustrophobic? I would have a normal, I guess, response to claustrophobia, but putting myself in there, I was not necessarily scared of being in the pod. It was more so just being in the complete darkness. But I said, you know what? I'm going to try it. I'm interested. Let's do it. So that's really what stemmed my interest. Was I just felt this pull to try it. I had heard about it multiple times from all these different people. So I found a place near me and I was like, you know what? Intro package, let's do it. So before I went though, I put up like a question box on Instagram and I said, okay, hey, anybody who's done floats, let me know like any recommendations. And from my, Instagram views, I would say that the top 3 things after consolidating it was wear earplugs, which of course, so when you float, you are in this water that's like kind of ambient, like body temperature water, so you don't really feel it. And there's so much salt in it that you are completely buoyant, but you do put your head under and your ears, if you're watching, I'm like on the YouTube, like Jabba the Hutt. So your ears are underneath the water, so you have to wear earplugs because obviously that would be horrible otherwise. And then only your eyes, nose, and mouth are exposed. So you can breathe totally normally, but your ears are underneath. So the place that I went to supplied the earplugs. I'm not sure if that's normal or not. That might be something that you want to talk with them about. But when I went in and I asked, like they showed me and I could see that they were there. So it was really no issue. So earplugs were available, but I guess if they're not, I would bring some for sure. And then the second thing was use psychedelics. That was my one of the top 3 recommendations was use psychedelics. Okay, I'm like, my group knows. And then lastly was go in with an idea, an intention, or, something, just go in with something that you want to focus on during the session. So the first time I go in, I kind of knew what to expect, but like you really just don't know, right? So I get there, the earplugs in, and I go in, and behind me there is a small light, right? And I left it on. I said, okay, I'm going to close the lid, and closing the lid again wasn't scary at all. There's plenty of room like above you. It's not like you're not like in like a coffin, like there is room above you, and there is room to the side of you. If I like stretch out my like arms and legs, like I can kind of touch the top. So I don't know how long that would be. Maybe like, I'm terrible with height. Maybe I don't know. If you're like 7 foot, probably not gonna be able to fit in you might feel a little claustrophobic in the pod. But if you're within a normal height, honestly, if you're probably under 6'6", you're probably good to go with some room. But so there is room to move around. But I left this light on and I said, well, I'm closing my eyes. So like, I know it's dark. And then I was like, but you can still see because I've done enough, meditating and just, I know enough about like the eyes and whatever to know that that's not pitch black. So I turn the light off and immediately I'm like thrown into like panic mode. Like I think I'm going to go into a panic attack. And I was like, okay, this is literally what you are here for. This is what you are here to confront. This is this is why you're here. There is nothing to be afraid of. There is nobody to be afraid of here besides yourself. And that is what really made me realize, okay, I do need to dive into this, and I do need to do this. Like, it really was just the kind of affirmation that I needed, that I was like, you can't run from anything or anyone here. You are just you and your thoughts. And there's so many different ways you can confront this with yourself, right? Some people do this through just simple introspection and reflection. Some people will meditate and do this. But for other people who maybe it's more challenging to get into these brain states and this just a very, very hyper awareness. For some people, like myself, I found that having something like this, where it's like, okay, I paid for this, I'm driving to it, I'm dedicating this hour to this, right? Like, it's very context specific. When I go to a float, I've now tagged it with the specificity that I'm going there to think through something, whether it's a problem or just a thought that I'm having or something that's reoccurring that's coming up. I'm going there to do something. So for me, that allowed me to really get a lot out of it, because if you go in there and you're just like, well, let's just see, what happens, like, you may or may not have enough direction, right? So what I'll usually do is when I go in there, I have something that I either want to think on or a problem that I want to work through. And I will open up kind of with that, when I get in there. And then I'll try to just either work through that, or if something continues to pop up that's different, I will then explore that, because it really is just an hour in your mind thinking through whatever you want to think through. And I'm not going to share on the podcast what I have been working through in those, because listen, I have been trying to open up and be more personal with everybody, but there are certain things that are just reserved for me and my life and the people who are in my life. But there is definitely a lot of things that you can work through and bring up there. And, it's crazy. It's stuff too. Like, hey, what do I see for the next 10 years, right? Like, you could, one of the days I went in and I had that intention, okay, where do I want to be? Why is this situation bothering me so much? What is the root of this? Who do I want to embody as an individual? What do I want to give to the world? Like, these are the types of things that, I've been working through, and some even more personal things that I've been working through as well. And you are literally in there with your thoughts, confronting them. And it's scary. It is very, very scary for people who have always kind of chosen to run from those. And I'm somebody who has always made the excuse of, well, I don't have time for that. Or if I do this, it'll take me off my A game. If I address this, or it's just easier to avoid and to numb and to distract instead of actually confront. So it's been really, really powerful for me. And I've done several now to this point, where there's been some times where I've gone completely sober with nothing. There have been other times where I have used a small amount of THC and a larger amount of CBD. So I'm not somebody who really loves a lot of THC. I like it in small doses in specific contexts, like this one, just because it helps open your mind a little bit more. But I do not like to get super high. It's just not my thing. I know everybody has different things that they enjoy. And I would not recommend, if you are somebody who is like me, who maybe would get worried or paranoid or anxious from being too high, to do that there. Like, know exactly how much you're using. And the same thing with psychedelics. If you want to use psilocybin, you want to microdose in there. Again, remember, you're probably driving here unless you're Ubering or you have a float tank at your house. You have to remember that you can't be too impaired when you're going these places, unless I guess you could walk there. But still, I would probably recommend, be aware of your surroundings and, to and from how you're getting there. But if you are going to do any kind of drugs or psychedelics or anything of that nature, making sure that you know the amount that you tolerate really well and how you respond to that. And I just find that using those compounds does allow me to open up my mind in a different way. And I really do enjoy it. But again, in very small amounts. And those are amounts that I know for myself that work. And And typically the floats are 60 minutes. I know everybody's, there might be different depending on the place that you go. One time, oh my God, the timer got messed up on the one that I was doing. And, sometimes you kind of like initially when you get in there, it's kind of like, okay, like I have this thing that I want to like work through, right? And you start to process that. And then there's kind of like this lull period where you're kind of like, you get a little distracted, or at least me, like that kind of middle period where you're like, all right. And then whatever continues to come up is usually what I'll then dive into for the last part of it. And then I usually lose track of time, right? Where you get out and then you're like, oh my gosh, it's been 60 minutes already. But one of the times I did it, I got in a few minutes early, and then I was kind of getting situated, and then I was, going, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so quick, right? Like that felt so fast. And then I went out, like I got up and I checked my phone, and I was like, it's been like 25 minutes. You know what I mean? Like what? So I come out, I'm like dripping salt water everywhere. I'm like, hi, excuse me. And I was like, I think something happened to the timer. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'll reset it. So I thought he was going to reset it, for the hour. Well, he reset it for another hour. And then I was like in there, I was like, man, this has been a really long float session. And I got out and it had been like 85 minutes. And I was like, what planet am I on? Like it was a lot. That was a very interesting time. But it was just, you get out of there, and the water is, like I said, it's kind of like body temp, but it is a little warm, so you kind of, at least for me, I feel a little like, when you sweat and you're just kind of like a little drained afterwards, but it's also like super just emotional. So you're kind of just like, whew, afterwards. But I was definitely like a big woosah after that one, like the 85 minutes. I was like, this was absolutely insane. But I would definitely recommend it. And the place that I go to is they have this phenomenal monthly package. So I'm not sure, again, check the place that you're going. If you're looking to get into this, I would buy some intro package because, a lot of the places are going to have that, buy 2 or 3 sessions up front for your first time. Do that because trying something like this one time is going to be really hard to really understand if you like it. After the first time I did it, I was hooked. Like I knew that I really liked it, but I have heard from other people, hey, it took me a few times to really get into it. So I would say if you're going to try this, and you've never done it, you're not sure you're going to like it, and it's within your budget, I would get probably a few sessions and give yourself, 3 sessions to see, do I like this? Is this impactful? Is it helping me? And then afterwards, decide the frequency that works for you. The place that I go, they actually have a monthly membership package, which I just signed up for because it's like the best, like you actually, it's you get a discount, and then you also have access to their sauna room for, a session as well. So pretty much what I did this last time was I did 2 20-minute infrared sauna sessions with a few minute break in between, then took a shower, and then went right into the hour pod. And it was just such a awesome use of my time, and really being able to say, okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to think through some problems. I'm going to maybe read. I'm going to journal, whatever it is. Obviously not in the pod. You're not journaling in the pod, but in the sauna, you can choose what you want to do. What I did was I started out with a meditation, a 20-minute meditation. Then I took a little break, and then I was just reading a little bit, taking some notes. But, you could do whatever you wanted in there. But a lot of places are going to have this kind of combo therapies. So definitely something that I would recommend. And I've just been getting a lot of questions about it because anytime I bring this up, people are very, very interested in it because it's been around for a while. But a lot of people are still learning about it. So it's just a tool and a modality that I have really, really benefited from. And I really can't recommend enough. Hence the almost 14-minute podcast on this topic. So if you guys enjoyed the show, please share it. That is the best way to support us. If you go for a float, please tag me or send me a message. Let me know how you liked it. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have about this. So feel free to send me a message on Instagram. Also, for more information on one-on-one coaching, visit teamlocofit.com and make sure to join our email list so you'll be the first to hear about the app that comes out very, very soon. So thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great start to your week, and we'll talk to you on Monday. Or wait, just kidding. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.